Hello, dear friends. Today we're going to take a look at the daily life of German submariners during World War II. A German submarine was a veritable hellhole. Cramped quarters, constant dampness, soggy clothes and shoes, and a lack of ventilation. And all of this for months on end. But first things first. Before setting out on a combat mission, which could last up to 12 weeks, the submarine would take on up to 14 tons of supplies, a full complement of ammunition, and fill its fuel tanks to capacity. There was virtually no free space left in the compartments. Everything was filled with fresh food, eggs, vegetables, fruit, and meat. Fresh provisions were consumed first so they wouldn't spoil, and then the crew switched to canned food. As for beverages, submarines carried tea, coffee, cocoa, juices, and milk. The interiors of the compartments were such that there was no question of comfort, not even relative comfort. When the boat was on the surface, water constantly poured in through the open conning tower hatches during storms. While submerged, condensation accumulated on the compartment walls due to the temperature difference between the air inside the boat and the water outside. In warm waters, the air in the compartments became extremely hot due to poor ventilation. A temperature of 50 degrees Celsius in the engine room was considered normal. And yet, there were no shower rooms on submarines. The result? Cramped quarters, heat, and no way to bathe or wash up. This was due to the fact that most of the submarine's interior space was occupied by engines, electric motors, various mechanisms, and piping. Very little space remained for people. There was a shortage of sleeping berths on submarines. People slept wherever they could, as long as they could stretch out to their full height, for example, on a torpedo. Only the submarine commander enjoyed a certain degree of comfort. He was the only member of the crew to have a private quarters in the form of a single-person cabin. But it was so small that it could barely fit a bed and a table. Moreover, the cabin was located right next to the central control station, where it was never quiet. The officers' cabins were double, with folds-down bunks. Petty officers slept on benches, while ordinary submariners slept in hammocks or wherever they could find space. 2 sailors shared a single berth. They did not sleep together, but took turns. The sleeping quarters for ordinary sailors were located in the bow and stern of the submarine, where the noise was the loudest. Submarines were constantly short on fresh water, which also caused problems with personal hygiene, such as shaving. Most submariners returned from missions with beards. German chemists did manage to develop a special soap that retained its cleansing properties in seawater, but few used it for shaving. A typical submarine had 2 toilets. Early in the mission, one of them was used as a storage room for provisions. As a result, there was only 1 toilet left for a crew of 50. It's not hard to imagine how inconvenient this was for the entire crew. Conditions in the engine room were the most grueling. German submarines were equipped with powerful 6-meter-long diesel engines. When running, the engines produced an incredible amount of noise and caused severe vibration. Many of the engine room crew members lost their hearing over time. The submarine's galley, like all other compartments on the submarine, was not particularly spacious. The small space barely accommodated 2 electric stoves and a work surface in the form of a rather small table. When the submarine was on the surface, it was impossible to cook hot meals, so the cooks tried to cook while the boat was underwater and not pitching. After a few weeks at sea, the air in the compartments turned into a complex cocktail of residual air, diesel fumes, sweat, and human waste. All of this was generously seasoned with copious amounts of cologne. They sprayed cologne everywhere to mask the stench. Submarine commanders often organized various competitions that were possible within the confined spaces of the submarine's compartments. The first prize was most often the opportunity to breathe fresh air, to serve an extra watch on the bridge. Given the atmosphere in the compartments, the prize was highly prized. The hardships of submarine service were, after all, rewarded. Submariners received higher pay, as well as accelerated promotion in rank and position. There was another advantage that was very valuable to a serviceman. After a 12-week deployment on a submarine, very few crew members remained upon its return to base. The rest, at least half the crew, received a 12-day leave. While the submarine was at base, the entire crew took their leave. Moreover, the sailors were transported home to Germany on special express trains. It turned out that even during the war, submariners spent 2 weeks at home every 6 months. For example, on the Eastern Front, soldiers often went 18 months without leave. I'd like to wrap up this video with some statistics on the losses of the German submarine fleet. Of the 40,000 German submariners, the majority, 30,000 men, died during the war. That's all for today. If you liked the video, please support it with a like and subscribe to the channel. Bye for now. See you next time.